Hey, now that we're all at home, I just want to give you a few tips and ideas for ways of doing some of the kind of key yoga poses when you have physical limitations. Maybe you've got a sore shoulder or you've something going on with your wrists. So particularly today, I want to look at the pose dog. So just in case you don't know, down dog is that very iconic yoga pose. And I want to look at how can you get the benefits of down dog if you've got some problem from in the upper body, so that you can't take weight maybe on your hands, your wrists, elbows and shoulders. So dog is a fantastic pose. What it does is it's going to give us an opportunity to get length all through the back body, which is really nice, and a lovely release through the back body. But what can happen is if you're not able to take weight through the hands and the wrists, then or if you become tired through hands and wrists, then it becomes a pose that becomes difficult for you. And if you either are forcing yourself into it and taking strain on wrists, you can damage them, or maybe you just haven't got the ability to use your wrists at all today. So we're going to just use props and use different ways of finding our way into dog. So if you're in a yoga studio, you might have a bolster, or you might have, that you can use to bend your arms and use it that way. But if you're at home, you can use some books. They need to be a little bit firm, so you can put a cushion or something on top of this if you want, something to soften it, but just pillows or something are typically too soft. You really need to have stability underneath you so that when you put your weight onto it, it doesn't collapse on you. So we can do exactly the same. So in a traditional dog, you're getting length through your spine, and then you're bending your knees and you're coming on up. We can do exactly the same, just taking the wrists out of it. Bring in the books or whatever it is that you're using. You can bend your elbows and place your elbows. So now the weight is coming down through your elbows, so you want to make sure that the elbows are stable. Make sure that the elbows are under the shoulders. If they're too far out, if you can imagine, if they're too far out and I put weight on, I'm very likely to face plant. So you really want to keep this line, shoulders, elbows to shoulders. From here, it's exactly the same. Get length through the upper body, bend the knees, tuck your toes, and then come on up. As you're coming up, see about keeping the knees bent so you can take your butt back. If the hamstrings are talking to you, keep your knees bent the whole time. There's no need to straighten the legs. You can play with that idea. So coming from here, bending the knees and coming up. Again, what will happen the same as regular dog, you're going to look to curl the back. So instead of rounding the back, bend the knees and nice straight back. For some of you, you might want the books, in which case you can do it directly on the ground. Same thing. It's just that little bit tighter on the shoulders. So playing with that, getting length, taking the elbows out. However, what happens if you have a shoulder difficulty and you can't take that kind of weight, because those poses are quite strong on your shoulder. And particularly when you're in this position, if you've got any kind of restriction in your shoulders, that will show up. So instead of doing that, you can do my favorite, dog against the wall. Today, I'm going to do it with a chair. And with a chair, it's going to give us a few different options. So you can start with the high option. High is not better or worse than low. It's just different. It's exactly the same. Knees bent. Why are you bending your knees? Because typically our hamstrings are the tightest. Take your hands onto the chair, whatever your chair is, and you're looking to just take your butt back so that you're getting that length, the exact same, getting the length through the upper body, keeping the head active, not hanging down, not sticking up. And then as you go to straighten your legs, the hamstrings, the back of the legs will come into play, or maybe the quads. And then often what happens is we end up with this rounding. So the same as before. See if you can get length and then play. What's it like? Maybe bending one knee, maybe bending the other knee, maybe bending both, and working towards coming to straight legs. the exact same if you want to do it a little bit lower, depending on blood pressure. You can take your head lower than your heart, as long as you don't have high blood pressure or low blood pressure. And so there's two different options. Dog against the wall, or as we did today with a chair, is one of my all-time favorite poses. You can do it with a counter when you're making a cup of tea. You can, if you're doing the sun salutations with us in the morning, just have a chair by you, and then you can come into dog using that. And it's one of my favorite poses. So I want to give it a go and see how you get on.